Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another trope recommendation video. This one is going to focus on the fake dating trope. This is probably one of my favorite tropes. I feel like there's really no way you can do fake dating wrong. It's always good. Definitely one of my favorites. So let's just get right into the books. So the first book I want to recommend is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I feel like this is a very, very popular book. Everyone has probably heard of this by now, but if you haven't, this one follows Stella and Michael. Stella has this really great job that she's really good at. She makes a ton of money, but she's kind of put her social life, I guess, to the side in favor of putting herself into work completely. She also has Asperger's, so she is a little bit different in how she approaches the whole dating world, and so she decides that to sort of get some practice and just get some experience in that sort of realm that she's not familiar with, she's going to hire a male escort, and that is where Michael comes in. He is a obviously escort who agrees to work with her to sort of just like practice all the things she wants to be good at to eventually get with another guy. She obviously doesn't really plan on getting with him, but things sort of go from there. This is the first in a series of standalones. There are 3 in the series. They're all really good, but this one is the only one that has fake dating. I did really, really like this one. It's definitely a good one for this trope. It's definitely a little bit different in the sense that they're not really fake dating for like other people's perspectives, I guess. It's more so that they're just like actually faking dating for themselves, I guess, which is a little bit different, but I personally think it still kind of falls in this category. Next is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is obviously the first book in the Addicted series. I personally really like the Addicted series. I don't love the Calloway sisters, but if you just follow Lily and Lo's story, it does start out as a fake dating story because the 2 of them are both addicts. Obviously, she is a sex addict, he is an alcoholic, and they fake date each other because they have been best friends their entire lives and their parents know each other, and it's just kind of always been thought that it was inevitable that the 2 of them would get together. They've been best friends for a long time. And so they fake date so that it keeps their families off their backs. They don't catch on to their addictions. They don't know what they're up to because the 2 of them are always just hiding out together, basically. And things obviously go from there. This is a 5-book series, I think. And you probably could just read the first one, but I probably wouldn't because it does definitely like continue on in the next book. But it does have a fake dating aspect to it. Next is Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. This is obviously like a witchy sort of spooky season romance. I read a lot of these last year and really, really loved them. This one in particular has the fake dating trope in it. This one follows Violet and Lincoln, and Violet is basically dealing with the fact that there are these laws that require her to find a mate. I believe he has to find a mate too, so the 2 of them kind of decide that they're going to fake a relationship with each other to get all of these like elders off their backs. But the 2 of them also have kind of like a history. When they were teenagers, they were together and things didn't end very well. So now we're like a few years ahead in the future and they're older and they now need to obviously fake date each other to buy themselves some time to deal with these sort of archaic laws that they have. And so this one follows that. Like I said, really good one for like the witchy season. I believe this has a 2nd book coming out to it as well. I have not read that one yet, but this one was pretty cute. Next is The Bodyguard by Katherine. This one follows Hannah and Jack. Jack is a famous actor and he has kind of gone back to his hometown and he's gone to visit his mother. And to do so, he needs to bring security with him. His team is like, you can't go out there alone, you have to bring someone. So he ends up with Hannah, a female security guard, becoming his bodyguard, essentially. And she has to come out with him everywhere he's going because she's his bodyguard. And he's like, my mom can't know that I'm having all of these like publicity issues or like issues with fans that I need security. And so he's like, we're gonna have to pretend that you're my girlfriend when we go out there. And so his whole family thinks that they're together and that he's brought his girlfriend with him. And this one was really, really cute. I found the ending was like a tad bit cheesy, but other than that, I really, really like this one. It's definitely a little bit different than the typical bodyguard romance because the girl is the bodyguard, which I thought was kind of cool. So I did really enjoy this one as well. Next is To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Maise. I loved this book. It is so, so good. This is a brother's best friend book. They knew each other when they were kids. He ends up moving away, I believe, when they're like in their teenage years, and Now, he is a famous actor, and she's written a book that is sort of being considered for becoming a movie, and they are eyeing Jason Thorne to be the male lead in the movie. So she ends up kind of running back into him years later. She always had a crush on him when they were kids, and now I think they're like in their like early 30s in this when they bump into each other again. But because, you know, the movie starts happening and he is the male lead and she is the writer, there's all this like publicity around like the two of them, and so they start to fake date. And I really, really loved this book. It was such a like pleasant surprise. Like I just really, really enjoyed everything about it. It was a really sort of unique plot line, I think. I've definitely read a lot of books where they're actors or musicians or whatever, but this one was just a little bit different in the fact that she was an author and that was like how they reconnected. I thought that was really interesting and, like I said, not something I've seen in another book. So I did really, really enjoy this one and I highly recommend it for this trope. Next is Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison. This one follows Stella and Luca. And Stella owns a Christmas tree farm and she's trying to get this influencer to come and do like a little piece on the farm because she thinks it will like help their business, and this influencer tends to go to only romantic destinations. So she sort of pitches the Christmas tree farm as if she's running it with her longtime boyfriend that she's, you know, so in love with and whatever. And this influencer does end up coming. So she shows up and obviously Stella is boyfriendless. So she ends up fake dating her best friend Luca and things go from there. This one's a really, really cute, like sort of small town vibes. It's not super Christmassy. I feel like it sounds Christmassy because it's a Christmas tree farm, but there really wasn't a ton of Christmas in this if you're not wanting like a super Christmassy book. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really cute. Next is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This one follows Liz and Wes. This is a YA romance actually, which I don't read a ton of anymore, but this one was actually really, really good. One of the things that I like to avoid in YA books, and tends to be the reason I avoid them in general, is because I find they're just not relatable to me. Like even when I was a teenager, I don't think I would have related to them. But this book in particular, I feel like I hardcore would have related to as a high school student. And so I think that that was what I really liked about this, is it was very realistic to me. It wasn't like crazy over the top dramatic. And I really, really loved that about this. This one follows, like I said, Liz and Wes is her neighbor. But she has her eye on this other guy, Michael, who has just moved back to the school, and she hasn't seen him since they were like little kids. And she wants to get his attention, so she ends up fake dating Wes to hopefully like show Michael that she's older and she's more mature and she's dating and whatever. And obviously things sort of go from there. Like I said, this is a really, really cute one. If you're into YA, if you're not into YA, like I've seen tons of people that don't normally read YA say that they really love this book. So I definitely highly recommend this one as well. Next is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. I know this is technically a marriage of convenience book, but I kind of feel like it also falls a little bit under fake dating because they actually like go out on fake dates for the sake of the public. Like they're not just married sort of quietly. They're very sort of public about being together even though it's a fake relationship, and so I felt like it kind of felt like a fake dating book as well. So I'm including it. Plus I love this book, so I literally will talk about it in any video that I possibly can. But this is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. Obviously I feel like everybody knows that. And this one follows Declan and Iris. Declan needs to marry someone to sort of take the first step to get his inheritance, and Iris is his assistant. You see the two of them a little bit in the first book, and I knew I was gonna love this. I haven't read the third book yet because I just don't want to be done with the series yet, but I loved this. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. He's so like grumpy and stoic and just like doesn't want anything to do with her really, but like you know deep down she's growing on him, and I really, really love this one. Highly, highly recommend it. Next is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is part of the Lovelight Farm series. This is book number 3. This one follows Layla and Caleb. I really liked this one. I thought it was my favorite of the series. I know a lot of people haven't loved this one as much, but I thought it was really good. It was really funny. This one follows Layla, who goes out on all of these really, really awful dates with all these guys. She doesn't know they're all going to be terrible, obviously, when she goes out with them, but every single date turns into like an absolute disaster, and she ends up running into Caleb one day, and you sort of see him in the previous book kind of having a crush on her. Like she runs a bakery, and he's going and buying cakes from her all the time, even though he really doesn't need these cakes, but he's going just to have a reason to talk to her, and so you know he's kind of got a thing for her. And he bumps into her after one of these really awful dates, and she's like, that's it, like, I'm done with guys, like, they're all terrible, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, what if the two of us went on, like, some practice dates or, like, some fake dates to see you know, you can see what a real date is like, and I can see where I'm going wrong because he's having issues with girls telling him he's too much or whatever. And so they're kind of like, okay, we'll fake date each other to see where our problems lie, kind of thing. And so they start fake dating, and obviously things go from there. Like I said, this one was so funny. I really, really loved this one. I thought it was so cute, and especially Caleb, he was just like the sweetest guy ever. Like, I loved him. And so I definitely recommend this one. Obviously, like I said, fake dating is definitely like a very prominent plot line in this. Really, really enjoyed that. Lastly, we have Blindside by Kandi Steiner. This one's obviously very, very popular right now. This is the second book in the, I can never remember the name. I want to say it's Red Zone Rivals, but I'm probably wrong about that. And it's something like that, though. And this is the second book in the series. The first book is Fair Catch. I feel like everybody's seen them around, so you probably know that anyway. But this one is a football romance, obviously, between Clay and Gianna. Clay is a football player, of course, and Gianna is like the publicist, I think, for the team. She's the, public relations coordinator. And so she's always working with the players. You see her around a lot in the first book as well. And she ends up fake dating Clay because he has broken up with his ex-girlfriend. Well, she broke up with him, and he kind of thought she was the one, that they were going to get married, that, you know, that was the end all for him. And so when she breaks up with him, he's like, oh, I know what'll get her back. She needs to see me with another girl. And Gianna is trying to get the attention of this musician that plays in this like pub or something on the campus. And he realizes that she has a thing for him. And Clay is like, okay, what if we fake date? I'll teach you how to get his attention, and my girlfriend will be jealous. So like, it's a win-win. And that's kind of how they start. I did like this one. I found this one was a little bit long, but a lot of people really didn't seem to mind that. So it was probably just me. But it was like a really good like fake dating storyline, very similar to The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Definitely had like its differences. Like, it wasn't an exact replica, but definitely a very sort of similar vibe with the two of them. And so that is the last book that I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. I'm currently doing new videos every single week, and I will see you next time.